Hey, good morning, everyone. And good morning to all of our members and friends who are on Zoom. Thank you for taking the time to join us today. We're so happy that you can join us today. Okay, Tina already told y'all the reason why I'm here today. And that's because I made the statement that I can sell ice to an Eskimo. And I said that, and the reason why the title of this talk is The Art of Selling Books is because there is an art to it. You know, there is a certain level of persuasion, there's a certain way to do things that makes it an art. And I know you all have heard of other things that you can do to sell your books, places you can go, but I'm going to talk about those and then I'll tell you about my personal experiences and why I feel like I can make the statement I can sell ice to an Eskimo. Okay? All right. So everybody should have a handout, and I think Tina was able to make some copies, and did the folks?
Yeah, I gave them to you.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah,
online.
the folks online.
Okay, yeah, tell the folks online they can download the copy of your notes, and I will, in the next newsletter, your presentation will be in there if they want to go through the presentation again with the notes.
Okay.
They
All
hear
right.
all that?
Okay. Okay. Everyone on Zoom, you
Yes. Oh, she
download?
already did. Daphne
Very
already got her notes.
good. Very good. Okay. All right. Just want to make sure we keep you guys in the loop. Okay. All right. So we're going to begin at the beginning. First of all, what I want to say is we really feel like everything is done and we take a sigh and we go, you know, you got your book published and you're really, really happy about it. All right. But what happens now after you have the book? It's published and now you're sitting there, okay, what do I do? How do I get this to people? How did this happen? What do I do with it now? Okay? So the first thing I say is after publishing your book, folks must learn that it exists, because if no one knows your book has been published, they certainly won't want to be able to buy it. They won't be able to buy it because they won't know that it exists, that it's there. So then you need to think about, like, what do you want to do with it now that it is published, okay? You must first decide how folks will find your book, okay? You have to think about what you want to do with your book. You know, why did you do the book? Some questions should start coming to your mind so you can set yourself up with who you're gonna sell this book to. Who are your prospective customers? Before you begin searching for tools and ways to sell your book, you must personally think things through. You may start by asking yourself these questions. Number one, who will be most interested in my book? Okay, if it's a Christian book, is it for youth? You know, whatever. You have to figure that out, because you want to have a particular audience. You need to have a starting point. Okay? Where is my target audience located? Okay, so you want to make sure you can get your books or have them accessible to the people that you are trying to get interested in your books. How will my targeting audience discover my book? Very good question. You have to tell them in some way, shape, or form. You have to get the word out to them. How will I interest others in buying my book? Okay, and that's where it comes with the art of selling books. You want others to be interested in it too, but there's a way to do all of these things. So first, before I go on any further, I think it's important to know how much you want to invest in your book. Okay, why did you do your book? Is it just something for yourself? Just for your personal interest? Is it something for just your family? You want to just sell it among family members and friends? Is it something that you want to take on as a business or a part-time type of business, you know, where you're going to be doing this on a regular basis? This is your first one. You want to get set up to sell books in the future. So you have to think about the time, the energy, the efforts, and the monies that you're willing to invest. And all of that will help you, too, to choose like your targeting audience and where you're going to present your book and how far you're going to go with it. Okay? First and foremost, here are some ways to market your book. And I think most of us know about these ways. Okay? The biggie is social media. Okay? Now, do you have to put your books on some form of social media? No, you don't have to. But usually there are many ways to choose if you use social media, and usually the following formats are most used by authors. That's X, this is formerly known as Twitter. There's Facebook, there's Instagram, LinkedIn, and Pinterest are the ones that have been listed that authors normally use. So promoting your book with social media is an incredible way to connect with readers and to promote your book to larger audiences at a low cost or for free. Now, if you guys have ever looked at my little Ingrid's Inspiration, it's just, it's on Facebook. It's a video session. It's a live session I do on Tuesdays. And you'd be surprised. At first, when I did this for, we were inside for COVID and we couldn't go anywhere or whatever. And I thought I was just going to do that for a short space of time. But there were people that were contacting me saying, what happened to you? We need this. We need this. So I started the thing again. And then when I go to local stores or just in my everyday experiences or running errands or things I have to do, people will stop me and say, I saw you Tuesday. It was good. Do you have a book out now or whatever? You never know what can happen just from something that's very, very simple as that. So I would say it's important to choose some type of social media. You know, not that you have to be on there every minute of the day following up, but if you can get on there because it will help grow your audience, especially if you want to promote the book to a larger audience. You know, there are going to be people who, most of the time these days, people are on some sort of social media, you know. So this is an easier way and usually a cheaper way that you can get your word out about your book. People will know what you're doing and they'll be interested in it. And then when you have that human connection, that really sells. It spreads the word. It lets people know what's going on. People meet and network and other activities and for other occasions, and you just never know what will happen there. So I just gave you a little breakdown of what happens with each one of these different groups. You may engage your audience to connect with the readers by liking their comments on X. You may also search different hashtags to find your core audience. Sometimes you may not know, you may have an idea, basically who you are trying to get interested in your book. But sometimes through the comments and things that you can see that people give you feedback about, you can learn that there are other people who are actually interested in what you write. You know, there may be other Christians that are interested or other church groups or other people in your neighborhood or, you know, other networks that would be interested in what you're doing. So all that's important. You may engage your audience, okay, to connect in, okay, I said that with Twitter. Okay, with Facebook, I told you a little bit about that already, okay, and that's what I do. You have a question?
Facebook had Facebook Live, so you actually did live.
Yes, I am on live every Tuesday at 9 a.m. Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah,
Is
yes.
there a time limit on how long your videos?
No. No, there isn't. No, there isn't. Okay. Yeah, I mean, that's, to me, that's the best price going,
Exactly.
you know.
They beat it.
And I really stumbled upon it because, you know, it says live video, and I hit the little button, and I was like, testing. I was like, you know, because I'm not a big tech, if you know anything about me, I'm not a big tech savvy person. So,
Ingrid, they'll also archive them for 30 days, but
Yes.
then they delete them.
yes, they do. And they'll send you, they'll send you a little message letting you know that, you know, your recording from September 20th will be deleted or whatever.
And what happens after
they let you know.
They delete the video.
Mm-hmm.
They
And
just
that's
don't
it,
keep
it's
it
gone?
archived.
It's gone?
Right.
Okay.
So I always,
Do you keep a copy yourself?
Yeah, can you save a copy of it yourself?
if you,
The video that just
They
got
ta-
deleted, are you keeping a copy on your end?
they tell you, I've never checked it, but they tell you you can download it. So I have downloaded it, so I really need to see if it's still there. But they do let you know,
So
the
it doesn't
message
matter
from
how
this
long
day.
it is,
No, it doesn't matter how long it
and it's
is.
Facebook Live.
Facebook
Is
Live.
it a chargeable thing?
No,
Facebook
It's
Live.
free.
I don't do any Facebook at all. So
yeah. It's free.
We have that for our church, and we put all of my messages on there Wednesday night, Sunday, so people can access it for the 30 days till they take it down. But
We
so
turn
you get-
around and upload them to YouTube after they stay on YouTube.
Yeah,
Yeah.
YouTube, yeah.
You can cross stream from Facebook and also cross stream to YouTube at the same time.
So when you guys are recording, you're telling it to save to YouTube and Facebook?
We don't, but I actually upload it after the service, but it's possible.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I also have stuff that goes to Instagram because they work together, Facebook and Instagram. So there are people that are following me on Instagram. They can also see all of what's live on Facebook because they're connected.
So this is really good to know for those who are getting their books out.
It's very good to know that because when you start out, I'm thinking you're looking at how much it's going to cost you and how can you get this out to as many people efficiently, as best as you can for the cheapest price. We all have to start someplace, okay? And so Instagram is pretty much the same thing. But with Instagram, you can post pictures of yourself, and that's why a lot of people want to post pictures and all of that with Instagram. But it works pretty much, I use it pretty much like Facebook. I'm more comfortable with Facebook, so that's what I use. So if, you're more comfortable with YouTube or Instagram or I think if you stick with one that you're comfortable with, it makes it easier than to try to use, a plethora of all of them that are there. If you stick with something and you keep it simple, you stay with it, you can learn from the one that you chose and you can make it work for you and you can expand it. And it's easier when you're familiar with something. It's easier to work with it, I find. Okay. I listed LinkedIn and Pinterest because they say that most authors are interested in those. LinkedIn is basically more for like business, so if you're writing something, that's more of a business nature or, you want to expose your book to a business crowd. You may want to use that. It's very effective for that. I do have a connection with it. I haven't used LinkedIn in several years though. So I have a connection. If it's still there, I imagine it still is. And Pinterest, I don't know a whole lot about Pinterest. I don't really use Pinterest. I know several people send me things from Pinterest, pictures and little inspirational things that are on there. So it's also a good tool. People like it and they use it. So that's a little bit about social media. And like I said, you find one that works best for you, then use it. Do you have to use it? No, you don't have to use it. It's just an option. It's a tool. Okay. Moving right along to number 2 is author website. An author's website, I think, is a very good idea. Okay. Because it helps you in a number of different ways. Number one, like we said, most people are on some type of social media. Most people are looking at something on social media. And so this is another way, another tool to draw traffic to you and your books if you have a website. Because people are rushing here and there, going to and fro places or whatever, and they're like, I'd like to talk more with you or whatever. Is there some kind of way I can reach you? And you can say, well, I have a website. And then they can pull up your website and they can find out some things about you. Now, websites, there's different ways you can do them. Fortunately, I started mine and Tina was very, very helpful with starting it for me. And I tell you, everything that I have done is because the Lord has just driven me this way. And I always say that if He gives you a vision, He will give you the provision for it. And so then after Tina, there was another lady that came up to me from another group that I was with, and she said, I have a sister that writes poetry, and I helped her set up her page or whatever. So she also helped me, advance my page somewhat. And so now my page is I have it's 5 pages, and there's a page for events where I'll list, the things that I'm doing, like these type of engagements. Speaking engagements, book signings, things that I have when I'm on Ingrid's Inspiration. If you saw it last Tuesday, I told you that I would be doing this today, you know. So this is a way you engage and you can keep in touch with everyone if you have your website. And it depends on if you choose a website and you put a little money into it, there's ways you can keep up with your traffic. It lets you know about statistics. It lets you know how many people have looked at your page for the month. It gives you that kind of data. So that's interesting information for you so you can know how effective you are. And if you have a room on there for comments or remarks, then people can let you know, we think this is really good, it's working for you, I didn't understand this. And then you can look at this feedback and then that can help you to know what to do. Is this working? Is this not working? Should I take this off? So that's good, but it lets people know, it lets you know that people are engaging with you and you're getting some response and reactions back from people. So that's good. And so that's why you have that website and you put that you have your book release on there and you let them know it's going to be at this place or whatever, so that when you're out and about in the public, wherever you are, you know, you can say, oh, by the way, I have a book signing such and such a day or da 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 da. And, you know, they may say, okay, you know, let me know, how can I find it out? I have a website, you know, and then they can look at the website later and they'll say, oh, I ran into her and I was talking to her, blah, 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 blah. Or, you know, I know a group of ladies and they're interested in your topic, like devotions, like what Jenna has, you know. We have a group of ladies and they meet all the time and they were looking for something, you know, to help them, something new, something fresh. And you can say, well, I know this lady who did a book, da, 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 da. Oh, do you know how you can reach her? Well, I have information for her. She has a website, you know. Yes.
One thing about a website, make sure it's got a catchy name. Make it very easy to remember because a lot of
Yes.
people, they just hear you blab the name and then y'all separate. And then they're, what was the name of that? What was it? Because just, again, so that would be another just catchy website.
That's a very good point. If you ever listen to Ingrid's Inspiration, that's what you see on my website. Because that's one of the things the second lady who helped me with my website said, you need to have something that you say that becomes a part of you, that people will know and identify you with. And if you listen to my Ingrid's Inspiration, there are times at the end where I'll say, make sure you know to make every day count. And so that's what my website says. It says, make every day count.
Your tagline.
Yes. You know.
What is your website? I want to write it down.
Oh, okay.
I don't know if I've been to it yet.
Oh, okay. It's Greens Consulting.
Oh, yeah. I got
She's
it.
like, oh. All right. Okay, so having a purpose and a plan will help serve to meet your goals and needs. Think about what you can invest when choosing a website. You can should you contact a web developer? And these are personal decisions for yourself. You know, if you want to start out small, there's a lot of things you can do. There are things you can do for free, but if you have some monies you want to invest or, you know, someone can help you with it, you know, there's some that aren't expensive, but there are some that can become very expensive. So you may want to search the internet for more cost-effective options, but I think it's in your best opinion to have a website so that people can know how to find you, because today most people are on some type of social media, and it's very helpful if you have a website. Number 3 is influencers. Okay, when it comes to promoting and selling your book, influencers can be helpful. Okay, an influencer is anyone, in my opinion, anyone or anything that's related to your book that has an established audience. As long as the influencer has built trust and a rapport with their audience, they can become a trusted ally for your book. So I have a list of influencers here. You may know people. I have a son-in-law that has a podcast. You know, you may do a podcast, or you may be a blogger. You know, or someone may invite you to put some information on, or you may be invited as a guest for their podcast or whatever. So whenever these opportunities are there, I call these people influencers because they are influencing what happens with your work and with your books. Okay. social media's influencers, speakers, journalists. There are people who are speakers. There are people who may want to help you out, and they say, well, hey, you say you got a book out? Let me help you with that. I have time on my radio station. We have Christian Mix 106, where we had to pursue your passion for a while, where people got to talk and say about, things they were interested in about their Christian life, their Christian walk or whatever. And then there was a moment where they could put the word in and let people know that they had a book. My first book is out, da, 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 da. And there are listeners, there are people who are online listening to Christian 106 Mix. There are people who, when you're speaking to journalists, local people who write articles and papers, they put information in the Gambit, all these kinds of things. That's easy ways for you to get the word out that you have a book, that you're having a book signing. And we are especially happy to have Mr. William here, who does a lot for us with the Gospel Bookstore, because he, first of all, allows us to be here, to have our meetings, and then he offers the space and the time here at his bookstore for us to have book signings. And he's very generous about that. And he's very helpful with getting the word out and lets us know that we can have flyers. He promotes it and puts this information in when his customers are leaving, and he lets everyone know. So advertising here is really good. So we really have a gem here with Mr. William with the bookstore. Okay. Number 4 is interviews and podcasts. Interviews and podcasts, I kind of talked about that a minute ago. It can help your audience learn more about your background and skills. Interviews can make your audiences feel connected to you, because I think it's a human nature when people hear things about you, and they can connect with you, and then you can tie that in with why you wrote this book, and I think it's just a human spirit within us that makes people feel like, well, I want to check this out. I want to find out about this. And then when they read it and they like it, they feel like it was great, then they share it with other people. And so that's another way that your book can grow. And then you never know. Some of these people are involved in book groups, other clubs and that, and they're saying, hey, I want to put this book as a book that's listed for next month as a book we're going to read. You never know. You may get a call from someone saying, hey, I read your book, I bought your book, and I introduced it to my book group, and now I have 6 more ladies that need a copy. You never know. I look at it like this. You're not going to start off, this is my personal opinion, you're not going to start off with a number 1 bestseller unless you are a celebrity or someone that's well known or whatever. I really believe in humble beginnings, and I look at it this way. I will take, and this is why I say I can sell ice to an Eskimo, I will take 100 rejections for that one acceptance, for that one person, because that one person may open up the door to a number of other people, a number of other organizations. It's like when we were here with Mr. William, we didn't know at first we were going to be able to do the things that he allows us to do, but you never know. You just never know. The possibilities are endless. So, don't look down if you have a book signing at a place, some venue, and there are like 2 people. If those 2 people that you present your book to buy your book, you never know. They may share your book with 2 more people. They may share it with 20 more people. They may share it with their congregation at their church. You just never know. So don't be down on yourself and feel like it didn't work. Put your best foot forward and your best effort and give it everything you got, and you can still be very successful. The numbers are not going to matter until you start selling all of your books. That's the reason why I feel like I do about what I do, because I've sold many things, other things, stuff that was out back in the day, home interior. Sarah Coventry, I'm dating how old I am now with Sarah Coventry. But, other things.
I have sold light bulbs to the lighthouse for the blind. Okay? So I'm just telling you, you got to be able to be
Yes.
excited about your book.
Yes, you do.
You got to sell that book just like you would sell lighthouse to light bulbs to the
The
lighthouse
last
for the
one.
blind.
Yes. And it helps to start off the conversation engaging with someone. Just don't be so abrasive and say, I got this book here, whatever. You want to just talk to them, establish some type of rapport with them, see where they're going, see what's going on in their lives. Are they having a good day? Or they're having a bad day?
Walking in with an LSU shirt. Go Tigers.
You find, yes, you find something.
Too
You
late.
find-
Yo, they're doing good.
Find an
find-
immediate connection to them, whatever
do.
it is.
You do. You find that little icebreaker, and that gets people's attention. Even the person that may have a frown on their face, they may, look like, all right, I'm about it. Mess with me right now. But if you find a way to break that down with that icebreaker, then they're, okay, all right, yeah. What's LSU going to do today? What do you think?
That's it.
And then you move into the conversation and you just kind of start to just feel them out and see where they are,
Find their common ground.
Right. If you got a mom in the store and she's got a little one with her or whatever, and she's getting frustrated or whatever, you can always start a conversation, with someone like that. So, it's just looking at people and learning people and knowing the way to get a conversation established with them. Because after all, the number one thing I always say when I do my Ingrid's Inspiration is that everybody matters. And even though people may tell you, someone may tell, I don't need anybody, I really don't. They really do. They just need you to validate that within them. And when they feel like someone is taking that kind of concern and interest in them, then they want to hear about what you have to say. There was an insurance man, this guy came to my house one time selling insurance, and I was like, I don't need any more insurance, sir. I have enough insurance. I'm good, or whatever. He says, but no, you really need this. I want to show you what my company can do for you. I said, well, if you want to know what I can do for you, if you want to take a minute to do that, then I'll listen to what you have to say. I never wanted to buy the insurance. I had no intention on ever buying this insurance. But I needed to bait him in so that he could say what he had to say so that I could say what I had to say so he could buy my book. So I told him, I'm selling to him. Yeah. So, I told him I'm selling to a salesman. I told him I've done telemarketing before. I never cut anybody off because I want to hear what they have to say. Your delivery and your approach is very good. And you did a very good job. But like I said from the beginning, I'm very satisfied with my insurance. And we went through that, and he says, well, yeah, you do have I know that company and they're good. I said, you see? So I'm very pleased with what I have. You're even telling me that, you made a good choice. So now I'm going to tell you about this good choice. Take a moment and hear about this book. You need to get this in your soul. You need this. You need this in your soul. This is going to help you sell more insurance. It really will if you use this approach, because everybody has had problems with running away from what the Lord has wanted them to do in their lives. You know why? Because we just want to do what we want to do. And when we get in trouble, then we say, oh, Lord, I need the Lord now. Let me say my prayers and all that. But then after everything gets on the road again, you start selling more insurance. You're going to go to the next two houses or whatever, and one of those people are going to take this insurance, and you're going to feel like, okay, I got this going on. It's me selling all this insurance. Stop and think about this. Because the first book was about, all the times that the Lord had talked to me and that, and I decided, no, I got this, Lord. And then when I get in trouble, it's like, okay, that was my first book of Spirit and Truth. So here was all of the Spirit and Truth that the Lord was telling me that I was running away from, And people need this because there are people in life who are doing the very same thing. And he finally he said, I had no intention on buying this book. He said, but you've talked me into it, Now, I don't know if I actually talked him into it with what I said, but I said enough that he actually bought the book. Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. There's a lot of difference between confidence and arrogance.
Right.
You can be very confident in what you have, but you don't want to be arrogant about it.
Right,
You know.
right. I was in no way trying to tell him that, you're a terrible salesperson. I'm not going to buy this because you don't know how to sell. No, if I would have told him that, that would have really been a problem, yes. But, I did let him know. I gave him the respect that I listened to his whole speech and everything, and that matters to people. If you cut them off like that, then they're going to be very defensive, and guess what? You're not going to get them to buy anything from you at that point because they've already made their decision. This is it. They're not going to change their minds.
Can I make a
Now, the next thing I want to say, I'm still going, is book clubs like we have. Potentially, this is our book club. This is our group. We meet. We are honoring the Lord with what we do, but we are also authors and we're also publishing books. And so we have all of our members, our friends here with ideas or whatever, and we help each other out. We give each other ways, ideas, thoughts on selling books. We can't neglect the fact that there isn't one person that's in an island. You shouldn't look at it that way. We need people who need people. It's a very wonderful thing to admit that you need other people in life. And that's how we grow and we share, because I don't have all the best ideas in the world, but when you put your ideas with my ideas, the two of us, we are better together. We become better. So you may be stuck with something that you're writing in your book, and someone may help you with that. And that might be a good selling point, the back cover of your book. I tell people all the time, the things that sell my books the most are the front covers. People like the thoughts, the titles that I have on a book, and the back cover, because the back cover tells you a little bit about the book. And so what you want to do is you want to draw them into it. You want them to feel like they got to have this. They want to find out, what are you saying here? They need more. And that's how you get them to buy your book. I came into town. I was living in Georgia taking care of a grandchild, and I had just published a book, As I Walk Away. And it was my book on forgiveness, about walking away from envy, from strife, from bitterness, walking into forgiveness, compassion, love, harmony, all these things. So on the cover, there's one door that's darkness, and the other door you're walking into, as this wonderful light. And anyway, the waitress said, "You look like a school teacher." I said, "Well, I'm from a family of teachers, educators." She said, "Well, what do you do?" I said, "Well, I'm a poet. I'm a publisher. I published a book." She said, "Well, what's the book about?" I said, "Well, the title is As I Walk Away." And she said, "Do you have it with you?" I said, "Well, you want to know more about it?" She said, "No, I don't want to know anymore. I want to buy it." I said, "But you don't know anything about it." She said, "But I'm fixing to walk away from a lot of people this year." So I think it's going to be a good book for me, And so it's like,
That was God.
it's like, yeah, that was God. I just come off the road. I was at a Waffle House,
Just a coincidence.
And it's just,
We love you.
and I think it's because, I take time and I pray to God, and, I ask him all the time to, just let everything that I'm saying and doing be pleasing in his sight. And whenever there is something that is not, that, I get convicted, and that I know that I'm a work in progress, and help me with that. And I always thank him for my writing ability, and I always thank him for my speaking ability, because it's because of him that I do what I do. I think most of you here know that this was not my first rodeo, and this wasn't the thing I really wanted to do with writing, was poetry, but he has done this for me and through me, and now I'm on the journey. I love the journey with it. But there are several other situations I could sit and tell you, because I really felt like that at first, where that, this was a coincidence that this person wanted to buy this book. No. But certain things have come up, even with writing, the things that I write, where people have, they have really proclaimed and manifested the things that the Lord had told me in my life, because there's been poetry that I've written that people have actually said, "I need this for my classroom. I'm doing a talk on trees." And I wrote a poem about, if the trees could talk. It's like, who knows this woman was going to come and ask me about this? It's like, it's there. It's there, and so she bought a whole bunch of books, It's just the way things happen. And then I think most importantly, I'm getting out of order here, but I'm going to say this right now, is that in your everyday life, the things that you do normally every day, your errands you have to run. It's like, okay, I'm still a dinosaur, y'all, with like a little Post-it notes and stuff. A lot of people put everything in their phones, and if, whatever works best for you, works for you. So I like physically having a little list or something where you can just like check off stuff. So my things to do become things to done. They are done, things that are done. So I had to go to the cleaners one day, and I've been going to this cleaners for ever and a day, many years, And so I went in there, and I always talk with people. You wonder why. I'm such a shy and quiet person. I really don't talk that much. So how you doing today? Always, talking with her or whatever. And so the person behind me said, "You're making such a commotion. You're making such a commotion. I'm in a rush. I got to get out of here." And I turned around, and it was a pastor that I knew. So I said, "Hi, Pastor Clarence." I said, "You probably don't remember me." And he says, "Well, your face looks familiar. Sister, where do you live? Where do you worship?" And this,
When
so
you get out of the way.
and I had just, I think it was maybe 2 weeks before that, had just been on a program with his daughter doing a talk on, you are just right to write a book. And so she had me come in and do that. And he says, "Well, I know your family." He says, I remember your grandparents and all this kind of stuff or whatever. So he says, "Okay, what you got then? You work with my daughter, you must have books, And so then all of a sudden he was like wanting to know now. He wasn't rushing me out of the cleaners, He said, "Well, do you have any of your books with you?" I said, "Yeah, I carry them with me all the time." And he says, look, you need to buy her book," telling the lady, the owner of the cleaners that I talk to all the time, "You need to buy her books." It's like, you were just trying to rush me. In my mind, I'm thinking, you were trying to rush me out of here. You weren't even interested, But then I sold 10 books in there because they talked to everybody. He said, "Hey, do y'all know this lady? She's selling books here. She's an author." So I don't know if the people behind them felt like we just want to just drop our clothes and go, but I sold 10 books in there, and I really came just to drop off 4 pieces of clothing that needed to be cleaned that day. So, it's the way you present yourself and the way you do things. Yes. And then I went through that at first when I was first selling books, where I would talk to people and, they would shake their heads and they were really convinced and everything sounds good. And then came the, "Do you have the book with you right now?" And it's like, well, at first I didn't carry them around with me. Not when I first started. I didn't have them in the car all the time, And they said, "Well, if you had the book with you, I would buy it." So it's kind of like,
All you
well,
had to do is hear that one time, huh?
it's like, no problem, and so they are with me all the time now. So that with my first book, the first book I did that inspired, that lit a fire under me, I sold well over 400 copies of that thing myself. Because every day when I got up, it was, it was like a little challenge, like, I got to sell these things. I got to get up because they're not going to go. They were in boxes at my door, and it was like, oh, God, I got all these books. What am I going to do with this? It's like, well, he says.
From the door to the trunk, right?
Yeah, door to the trunk. And then they started going, and I started looking at the box, and it was like, finally, there was none in that box, and then there was another box. I said, I'm starting on the second one. This is the last one. And then they just started disappearing. Yes. And then when you talk to people, like William was saying, there are people that say, I could use a good speaker for my Women's Day program or something like this. Or I need somebody to do words of encouragement, on a program. And then there was a pastor that came up to me and he said, "I am the chaplain at a prison." And I did a 9-month ministry in the prison where the prison bought copies of my first 2 books, So you never know who's listening to you, because at that activity, they say, "Well, we can't pay you to be a speaker. We just need you to come in and give some words of encouragement. We've heard that, you do speaking." They said, "But what we can do is we can give you a table. You can set up a table and you can have your books there, and we can announce that. And when we have the time for fellowshipping, people can come up to your table, and I'm quite sure you'll sell some books, you know. And then it was a little banquet, so they said, we'll give you a free meal. Well, I don't know. Food works pretty good, folks. Especially, yes, especially this part of the country. We live to eat. We love to eat good food. So that worked out well. Sold some books, and then I got to do that ministry and that, and got to, you know, really help some people, because you know, when I was in there was, you know, some women that were saying that they really wouldn't have gotten in the situation they had gotten into if they would have just taken some time and had somebody to talk with and share with. So, you know, and when you're doing these things, it gives you other ideas in that too, to help you with what you're going to do with the next work that you put out. It also helps you with other ways to connect with other people, you know. So all of that's good. Getting back to our page now, it's like book signings be kind of, I don't really need to go through all of that, but you know, that's a way to sell books. And Tina and our organization here graciously helps with that. If you are a donator and you donate money to the organization, you know, there have been times, I think several of us may have been at the Louisiana Book Festival, at the state capitol, or other places where, you know, we've put up the funding and you have to show up and, you know, you can sell your books or whatever. But book signings are very good, like William here, you know, which Jenna's going to do one today, you know. There are always very good opportunities to sell your books. And the most important thing, I think William said that and Tina stresses that too, is that if you can get the word out to people, flyers, bookmarks, on Christian Mix, or, you know, any other ways to get the word out that you're having a book signing, you know, talking to your neighbors or people at your church with church announcements or whatever. All of that's very helpful, because that's going to drive traffic into your book signing. And just you talking to people that you see, hey, I got a book signing coming up. You know, talking
and
to
in
you.
our case here, it also helps William.
Yes.
Come in and buy
Yes.
something.
Yes. 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 And the next thing is book festivals. The same kind of thing. You know, it works the same way. They're on a larger scale than just the book signing, but you know, you do the same things. You do your advertisements. You're going to be part of something. Let people know. You know, people need to know. They need the information. Writers' conferences. You know, there's times where you go for, you know, just to learn more or to share with other people to see what's working with them. So all of those are good ideas. I'm trying to run along here before we start to run out of time. All right. Other advertising ideas. Take some time to think about your everyday activities. And I kind of told you a little bit about that, like me going to the cleaners or whatever. And I'm sure you can come up with other ways to sell your book. But here are a few ways if you want to consider. Free promotional items, okay? There's things that you can do. I have had from time to time, you know, I've had items like just things that people have given me, you know, little books or whatever that's related to whatever I'm trying to sell. It's like, okay, the fifth person is going to get this book, so here's your ticket or whatever. I've done stuff like that, and people are like, I want to win. You know, people want to get things. You know, if you do a decorative bookmarker or anything like that that you can give for free. I remember Rory did the balloons, would have the balloons sometimes or whatever. That draws people in, and then they get to come in and hear and listen to what you have, and then they say, okay, I'll buy your book. You know, I did mention other groups and organizations. You know, if they have a time where they allow you to share, you know, the other works in that you do, then you can say, you know, I'd like to let y'all know I'm having a book signing, da 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 da. And that's good because the networking with those members there can share, and they can tell other people, tell their family members or whatever. That's always good. Last but not least, I wanted to talk about the personal touch, but William had me talking about, he was going on and on with that. Yeah. You must get out there and cultivate relationships with booksellers and others, pitching your book and advertising it in unconventional places, such as grocery stores, yeah, cleaners, you know, yeah, and just, you know, people just stop me when I'm doing Ingrid's Inspiration. this one lady, I went into Walmart, and I'm trying to go really, really quickly because Walmart's one of those kind of stores that you just, if you get a cart, you can just buy all kinds of things, and you went there for 2 items.
Yeah.
So I'm going in there, and I'm trying to go. And this lady stops me.
Everybody.
Yes.
Because
I only buy 6 other things.
not a cart full.
This lady stops me and said, well, where have you been? I haven't seen you on Tuesday. I always looked at you. It's like, and it was a Tuesday. I said, I was on today. And she was talking to somebody else in conversation, a lady in one of the little scooters deals. And she said, yeah, she was on today. I saw her. I didn't even know this woman, you know. And she said, yeah, I needed to know how to get in touch with you because I never knew how to get a book from you, but I watch you every day. Never knew who this woman was, you know. So you never know. So, of course, I was going to take a moment.
On the end,
A friend who, you know, she was a teacher or whatever, and she liked what I did, and she says, we got to help you. You got to get out there so more people can know who you are. I have a friend who owns a school in San Francisco. She's coming into town, and I need you to meet her and talk with her. And she told me, read one of your poems to me. So I read it, and she said, what are we going to do? She said, I'm going to have you come out to the Bay where I am, and I'm going to set stuff up for you. She did. We did. She said, but I'm telling you, do not come if you can't bring at least 40 books with you.
Wow.
Because after my church activity on Friday, she said, we're going to have a meet and greet at my church. I'm going to have people come in, and then I'm going to have a brunch the next day. So we did that, and I sold over those books. I had to get some more books. And then what happened is she told Pat, she said, just have her, because like this lady was saying over here, I got everybody's email and their names and stuff because I was in San Francisco. You know, am I going to see these people again? I need to keep in touch with these people.
Media, you can.
Yeah, on social media I can. And this is what she said, because she was old school. She wasn't really into like the social media stuff. She said, but we're going to start a book club for you on the Bay. What you're going to do is you're going to send me some books. And we did that for a while. I'd send her books, and I'd send all of my, like, I used to do postcards and bookmarks and that, and I'd send that to her. I'd mail that stuff to her. And then after her services, she would hand this stuff out, and she'd get people who were interested. Okay, so-and-so, I need 20 books, you know, this month or whatever. And we did that for a while. Unfortunately, her health was failing, and, you know, she was an older person, whatever. But it works, you know, so that way there were people, you know, not local, there were people away, you know, that was interested in what I was doing. It was very, very important and very, very effective. So last but not least, the most important thing I want to say is that when you're doing your book, when you got your book ready to sell, be patient and be persistent, because persistence pays off. You know, if you go out, you know, the first day selling your books and, you know, you don't sell as much, or your first activity, you know, don't feel like, well, this has become an absolute failure. You know, this didn't work, you know. Stay positive, because if you believe in your work, you need to have that confidence, because if you don't have it, then
They're gonna know.
they're going to know. You know, people are observing what you do and what you say. A lot of people will just sit and listen because, like William said, you touch their spirit, you touch their soul, you know. So most important thing to know about selling a book is that it's not a sprint. It's a marathon, you know. It's not like Speedy Gonzales, zoop. I mean, you may have a time where you sell a lot of books in a short period of time, but that's not the case every time. You got to know that anything worth having is worth waiting for and working on it, and knowing that, you know, it's gonna work out. It's God's will, it's His timing, and what you're writing is to honor Him and for His greater good. And I think it's worth it. I think all of us here are talented, and we're worth it. So take a chance at those 100 no's. Take that chance. And that one yes is what you need to get you going.